time has come. We continue our Appetite for Destruction playthrough. Just a few things to note. It's been a little while because there's you probably can't see, but there's actually quite a lot of mess behind me here. That's because we're having this whole studio area upgraded and moved into the attic. So everything is a little bit up in the air at the moment, but that's okay. We're going to carry on with our playthrough. We've landed on one of the more sort of offbeat tracks from Appetite for Destruction. It has a particularly unusual arpeggiated introduction with alternate picking, and then a very weird solo as well, which we'll get to as we carry on with our run through here. Do subscribe if you're enjoying the series, by the way, down there, and it helps us out here on How to Play Guitar. Okay, we're diving into the intro section. Now there's actually three guitar parts to this. There's the Slash intro, which we'll do first. There's the Izzy intro, which is kind of a bit more relaxed. And then there's a third guitar, which kind of comes in towards the end. And they all mix together to make that kind of really cool intro sound. So Slash's intro, we're in E-flat tuning as usual for this album. So everything's dropped down a semitone here. And we're going to start off with this arpeggio section here, which is on the neck pickup, which I should have done in the example really in the beginning. And then we're on the 4th fret of the A string. And we're using a sort of part of a G chord shape. That shape is, imagine it being on the 5th fret. And Slash plays this with his 3rd finger, and then bars across the next 2nd frets with his 1st finger there. So that section is okay, your hand stays in one position. And that's just alternate picking there, so that's nice and straightforward to begin this section. Then the next little part of this riff is... So how you achieve this is you use your 2nd finger on that 3rd fret, and then you play an open B string as you move to the next shape, which is a 1st finger across and a 4th finger. And each time you play that open string, you're moving to the next shape. And this is the next shape in bar 2. And then that comes around 3 times. So let's run it through. By the 3rd or 4th time you play it, you might start to get the hang of the little changes here. That's a hard one. And you move. And again, the 3rd finger can stay down there as you change back to the beginning. It's hard to remember to take your 1st finger off to hit that 2nd B there, so... And the reason, by the way, that you use the 4th finger on this note in the 1st bar is because when you take everything off, you can put it down in the same place that it was. So we'll carry on in bar 3. And it ends with a... And then it gets turned up a little bit, and then you get the awesome main riff, which is super dirty, which we'll go into in a sec. But before that, we've got to talk about what Izzy does at the same time. So Slash plays that 1st pattern. And Izzy comes in the 2nd time on the 9th fret. So that's the 2nd and 3rd finger on the 9th frets. You're using your G and E strings, and you're skipping out the middle string completely. This is a finger-picked section, so Izzy does it with his thumb and his 1st. And then the 2nd time, which I've written out in bar 7 for you, is like this. And then the last time he plays it, it's a little bit more involved. And then you're going down to this 5th fret here. I'm bending up to the full bend there. There's also a 3rd guitar that comes in the intro right at the end, and it goes. And that's kind of over the top of everything, and that's before you hit the verse section. So it starts off, before Axl sings, when he doesn't sing, Slash has the single note line because it kind of cuts through the mix a little bit better. When Axl comes in with his words, you actually hear Slash kind of dropping back a little bit in the mix and using the power chords just to kind of chunk out, fill out the sound. So we're starting off here in bar 14. There's vibrato on these notes each time they come round, with the 3rd finger on that 4th fret on the A string. So what's interesting about this version of the riff is that there's a little turnaround from here. You've got the open 1st, 2nd frets like that. So that happens twice, and I find that really interesting that the single note pattern is kind of there. The most interesting and important move is to move down with your 2nd finger here, and then across, and then down, down picks. And then a couple of dead notes at the end, so just one more time. Drop. And then you've got that full A power chord there. Now the 3rd time it comes around in bar 18, Slash, to mimic what you hear on the record, which I think is another guitar playing a 3rd above. Something, you can hear a 2nd guitar. What Slash does live to mimic that is he goes. So he just uses the 2nd finger, slides down like that just to achieve the same effect, which slightly changes our fingering pattern, because then you carry on with. That's only on the 3rd time. The 4th time round, you get Slash with the bar chord, and then you get. Whereas Izzy does. But Slash does this totally different version. So that's the 2nd finger on the 2nd fret, what we like to call a moo cow here on how to play guitar. A 1.5 fret bend and release. That's how we tackle Slash's verse, which comes back in a totally different guise next time round that we hear it. So I mentioned that there's these power chord versions, which we've kind of hinted at in the 4th time that it comes round. This is how it's now played when Axl sings in bar 22. So you get down, up, and then you drop down. So there's no turnaround anymore. So let's just run through this now. So you've got power chords on the 4th fret, a move, and then the same you just hear. So there's no 1st fret in between. You just get same again in bar 24. And what happens here is that there's a kind of you land on the note. And you slide up there, actually use your second finger to do the slide up there on the bottom string. And then it carries on. So it's all the same kind of stuff. Bar 28. I've bracketed some notes that aren't played on the album, so in bar 28, if you do it the album way, whereas the live way is Slash going. There's a little bit of difference. It does make a little bit of an interesting variant. We'll leave it there for now because we're going to go on to the chorus, which is super odd. So the chorus, you're on this 5th fret with the power chord, then a couple of dead notes, and then all the way down to the A, and then you do the dead ones as you move to fret 5. I quite like this sliding section because the pick's on its side. You get this kind of nice little sliding sounds that you get on the album there. We'll go to verse 2 and carry on because it's very similar to what we've had before. Because Axl isn't singing, Slash actually carries on playing it in his single note variety, which we've covered before. Now this time it comes around in bar 36. There's a slight pinch harmonic. Land on these 4th frets here, and you bend them up like that, which is actually quite straightforward. And then we're on to verse 2, which comes around again like this. That's the same as before. Now I've written a variation where Izzy in bar 40 plays some dead notes. So he does that. If you want to do that as well, just for variety's sake, you can. Carry on in bar 42. And we carry on with chorus 2. And then it goes. And then it carries on. But Slash does a little fill-in where he goes... so it's like second finger on a down pick. Alternate picking with the 5s. And then bend up. And then a little pinch harmonic. Try and follow the picking and the fingering suggestions I've written out in the tab there. And then it carries on again. And then up here. Which I really struggled to hear on the album, but that's what Slash plays live every time. So he goes... Instead of... He actually plays it up there, where Izzy probably plays the lower part that you hear so prominently on the album. And then it's back. It's really cool what Slash plays under there. He goes... So we're using open chords here. And Slash does it E major chord at the bottom, but only hitting the top notes. Then a D shape, only using the 1st and 3rd fingers that are heard. Then an A. Izzy plays this. That's why his notes are in brackets. Then Slash carries on with a... which is nice and straightforward, and then it carries on again, and then you get Izzy again, and then Slash just goes, and then we're into this kind of 12-bar blues section, which is like really weird because it only happens once. But it's fun, so it's there. Then it carries on again with the chords. And then you get just into the solo. And then we get into the solo section with Slash doing his very weird... We're going to take this from bar 62, which goes like this. So we slide up and down, and then we've got a third and fourth finger here. Sometimes in a live situation, Slash will re-pick it. And then you've got third finger on the 16th fret here. Doing a 3/4 bend, then a full bend with a bit of vibrato. Then you get with the second finger picking up that 16th fret return there. So that. So next you have this, and then drop down to the 10th fret. What happens here is you get a releasing of that top note, and then a rebending, and then it comes down, and then on the 10th fret you get, and then you get another couple of dead notes after that, and then it's a pinch harmonic in bar 70. Second finger, third finger, drop, 3/2, and then you've got the solo continuing. Then you get a dead note with the third finger there, and the 5th fret. And then it comes up to the end of the solo. And then the verse resumes underneath that, and you can drop in after those couple of bars to line up with. Just keep running it through. And then you get this little pattern here with the pinch harmonic. Slash actually does this with a second finger, which is really odd because it doesn't feel natural to move. I guess it kind of works out though. You can also do third finger like that if you wish, but I'm just putting down Slash's fingering there. Then we carry on with this. Then up here. And then Izzy holds the chord, and this time Slash does this little which is nice. So it's a bit of a stretch. High up on the 4th and 5th frets on the E string, 2nd and 3rd finger, and you do the power chord, so, and again, And then Slash has this really cool, and then on the last one, like that. So just slowly, all down picks, pull offs, and then this one. It's just a bit of a kind of flourish, really. Just pull the string a little bit. Like that, and that's how you end My Michelle, which is pretty tough, but also fun with the arpeggios at the beginning, the solo, which is mad. Lots of weird stuff in there, but I hope you enjoyed running through that one. The Appetite for Destruction playlist and playthrough continues. Check out some of our previous ones that we've done all the way through the album up to this point. We're going to carry on till the end. Thanks for watching. Peace out. We'll see you next time.